Welcome to Brownstone's Best Business Review. I'm Paulette, and I'm going to be your host for today. We have an amazing individual that is coming to hang out with us today in the Brownstone. We're going to be talking money. We're going to be talking investments. We're going to be talking about your future and what to do with your coins with our amazing guest, Tremaine Wills. She's an MBA investment advisor, financial planner, author, and speaker committed to helping families become millionaires. She is also a top talent improving financial wellness for so many people like us. She's a certified financial education instructor, 2 times Investopedia Top 100 advisor with multiple investment licenses. She's passionate about building wealth in our community and providing education on how to retain the wealth we are building. This passion has led her to create the 1 Trillion Tribe, a financial literacy education and digital content community focused on providing quality, actionable, bite-sized content to help change your financial situation. The tribe has invested over $5 million with new investors starting their journey every month. Now, here's what you guys need to know. She was recently named the top 50 under 50 by the Association of African American Financial Advisors, 2-time top 100 financial advisors by Investopedia, Excellence Awardee by Investment News, and nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year by Black Brand, the Hampton Roads Regional Chamber of Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we could go on and on and on about this young lady's accolades. But let's bring her up and let's have a candid conversation about your money. Tremaine Wills, welcome to the Brownstone. How are you?
Listen, Dr. Clark, I wish you could introduce me all the time, okay? That was amazing. It was like,
Thank
who is she talking about? That person sounds
you.
wonderful.
We're talking about you and all of the work that you have been doing. And I want to dig right in because I love the one is explain it again, the tribe. Let's talk about the tribe. Let's go there and let's backwards. Let's go backwards. So let's start right there. What is your tribe all about?
Yeah, so this is my passion, right? The 1 Trillion Tribe is my community, right? We're on a mission to help 1 million families become millionaires. And so if you do a little math,
Okay.
and you multiply a million times a million, that's
Okay.
$1 trillion, right?
Yes.
So that's our own economy of $1 trillion invested.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And so it has not done before. It has not been done before in the minority community. And I'm believing that we can make this happen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does one become a part of the 1 Trillion Tribe? And firstly, the biggest question, why?
How much time we got, Dr. Clark?
We got about 30 minutes to get into
So,
it.
well, first, let me say how you become a
Okay.
member, right? We have a free Facebook community called the 1 Trillion Tribe. And so you can start your journey there. Um, but the deeper reason why is because I know the power of what wealth can do when it's in the right hands, right? So I come from a family of givers, volunteers, community service oriented people. And I've watched, especially my mom, give and give and give when she didn't really have it to give, right? And so I just imagine what that could look like if she actually had an extra thousand, ten
Yeah.
thousand, $100,000 to put into these programs, what they could turn into. And that made me want to teach the principles I was learning that I knew were not in the community I came from, right? And so that's the real core of the why, is because I know when we have proper financial education, we can take that education and partner it with our passion to create impact and to serve and really see entire communities transform. So
Absolutely.
like $1 trillion is a great milestone, but the legacy and the communities that will be changed by it is long lasting. So
Wow.
that's what the big vision is.
The big vision, that's huge. And you're starting. See, that's the key, is the start point, right? And so I need to know, I'm nosy. How in the world did you end up in the world of finance to begin? So let's go there first.
So I'm sure everybody who was raised by a black mother has heard this, right? When you're asking for some McDonald's, and the
That McDonald's
question
money.
you get back is, do you have McDonald's money? Right? And now it might be Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah,
Because these new generation of kids, they're a little bougier, right?
right.
But I got tired of hearing that. Honestly, I got tired of hearing, do you got McDonald's money? And I picked up a trade. I learned how to braid hair,
Mhm.
and I knew how to make quick money. But what I didn't know was how to turn the money I was making into wealth. And
Mm,
so that got me interested in, what do these other people know that I don't know about
mm.
how to make money appear out of nowhere,
Okay.
right? And so that's what got me interested in finance and economics, and that's how I moved on that path. But I am a first generation college student,
Mhm.
and there was not a lot of conversation about building wealth and the things that you need to do to set yourself up to have a good financial future. And so there was this big hole of
Mhm.
knowledge that I just didn't have. And I was like, I want to know. Somebody's going to teach
Right.
me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. And so you went on this road of learning all of these things about finances. And so let's talk about the top five. Let me ask you about the top five things that you learned that you still yourself use and you teach others.
Oh, top five. Oh gosh. Okay. Um, if I had to start with like the first one, it would be begin investing as soon as possible.
Okay.
Right? All right. Are we back?
We're back. We're back.
Okay. So you want to start from that question again?
Yes. So let's
Okay.
start where give me the top five things that you still do today and in terms of investing your funds, and then also are those the same things that you would tell your students and the people that you're helping?
Okay. So the top five things I learned that I still do today that I think everybody should know about. One is to start investing as soon as possible.
Okay.
Compound interest is your friend, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is you need a budget.
Mm,
Budget is not a bad word. Budgets are your friend. So
okay.
that's number two.
Okay.
The third one would be high yield savings accounts, right?
Hmm.
We cannot be loyal to some of these banks that are trying to pay us 15
Mm,
cents in interest a year.
right.
Number four is going to be, you have to have a deep, compelling reason why you are
Right.
committed to investing and changing, because resistance is going to meet you.
Mm,
And then five is probably just committing to the mindset of always being a learner in this
mhm.
space, because there are so many things to know about, and it can become overwhelming
Okay.
when you feel like you just don't know, and then you retreat and don't try to do anything.
I
So those would
see.
probably be my five.
I see. Wow, that's good. Okay, so let's start with you have a service. Let's go here. So your service says, I'm going to help you do what?
Create a comprehensive strategy so that you can invest and build wealth.
There you go. Okay, now I am Lisa who works at McDonald's. Tremaine, I really need your help. I'm a shift manager. I only make $17 an hour. I got three kids and I'm not married. I live in public housing because I can't afford anything else with the three kids. Can I afford you? And I got to make sure that my kids eat every day. Where do I get the extra money to do what you're talking about, even though I want to?
That is a really good question. So, the first thing I would say is that there are levels of access to one on one support or to support in general, right? The more hand holding and one on one attention you have, the more expensive it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not mean you cannot get help, right? So in my free community, I teach a lot. And if you
Okay.
are somebody who is a self starter, who can learn from videos,
Mm-hmm.
who is hungry enough to invest the time, you can watch my free content and
Mm-hmm.
make some changes, right? So that's the first thing
Okay.
I would say is like, how bad do you want it? Even if you don't have
Okay.
the money, right? And then the next level from there, I
Okay.
have a very affordable group financial coaching program, right?
Okay.
It's
Okay.
less than $50 a month.
Mm.
And it has a 14-day free trial. So you can test it
Okay.
out to see if it's what you need. Right? And so that's the next level is like, okay, I really need somebody to tell me something to guide me. And then from there, we move up to our one on one support, right?
Okay.
So I was very intentional about the way we structured our company to make sure that it did not isolate and cut off access to people who are just getting started on their journey
Okay.
because I remember when that
Mm,
was me,
mm.
right? When I could not afford to pay somebody thousands of dollars just to create a strategy to make me a better with my financial management. And
Mm.
so we are intentional in making sure that we provide the content, we do not gatekeep it. Everything I teach is literally what I'm doing. So there's no smoke and mirrors like, oh, you got to pay to get access to this. You just
Mm.
have to pay to get access for me to do it for you. So the information
Right.
is there, right? And if you have the um if that fire is in you to really change, you just have to execute.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So I heard you just say to do it for you. So let's talk about what you do, because I heard education, right? And so that's a huge component of what you do is educating people on getting their finances together with those top five, right? Which I love that. I love the fact that you were super open and honest about that. But all I know is Big Mama and them kept their money in the mattress. I'm scared, Tremaine. I don't know what to do. Tell me what my first step needs to be in order to get out of this, because I keep hearing everybody on the internet and in these internet streets talking about an IUL and I need a trust, and I can't trust anybody in my household, let alone a trust. Tell me, what do I do? How do you talk about these things? Where do I start?
Yeah, that's so good, right? Um and I think that you have to have an honest conversation with yourself about what it is you want your money to do, right?
Okay.
So like if you have all these different um pockets of voices giving
Mm,
you information, there is always more than one way to accomplish a goal, right? You can invest in all different kinds of things, right? So the strategy is not the problem. The problem is you being clear on what outcome you want to achieve. And many of
okay.
us have been trapped in survival mode. And so
Mm,
we have not thought about what it would even look like to be able to realize any of our big goals and dreams. So the very first thing we have to do is decide that, okay, I want to get out of survival mode. I
mm,
want to move beyond thinking about what I have to do day to day
yeah.
and start to think and dream about what could life look like
Yeah.
if I had more money, and what would I be able to do from there. Then you can start to think about, okay, what is the path to
Mm-hmm.
make that stuff happen.
Mm,
So financial planning works best for people who are deeply committed to leveraging their money
mm-hmm.
to create a different life,
Okay.
right? It
Okay.
does not really work when you can only see what's right in front of you, because it doesn't matter what plan I put in place. If your
Yeah.
mind is on how do I make it through today, It's
Mm,
going to be hard for you
yeah.
to invest when I say, hey, you need to set aside 20% of this money for
Mhm.
tomorrow. When you're like, well, I got to get through today.
That
Forget that
part.
20%, right? So it really is, how can I um see past where I am right now and push to that next level.
Mm, this is so good. Like all of my ideas, like in my head, I'm like, okay, so how do we get these folks over here to get over to where you are? And this is very, very helpful. So that's just an idea. I'm over here thinking, okay, yeah, because what you do is so important for our community, right? There are so many of us who are the generation after the civil rights movement, me, right? Which means that my father's parents were in the middle of Jim Crow, which
Mm,
means that their parents were slaves. That's how far back this goes. And if not their parents, their grandparents. And
yeah.
so we knew how to nickel and dime and put together pennies and the dollar to make some things work and to make some things stretch. And so here we are standing on the legacy of those people who could do nothing else but what they knew. How important would you say is your tribe and your Facebook group in helping people to get the education that they need so they can begin to make those decisions to get to the next step in working with you?
Um, I would say it's critical, and not just because it's me, right? There are a lot of wonderful financial educators that are stepping into the forefront to teach. And we have a community on WhatsApp where we're talking about how important it is for us to be loud
Yeah.
and really show up, because there's so many people with ulterior motives that are stepping into the financial literacy space for self gain, right?
Mm,
Because finance is a very lucrative industry, like, don't get me wrong, right?
right.
But because of how vulnerable people who are financially illiterate are, it's important that you have a safe place to learn and to not be abused by your ignorance,
Yes.
right? So in my tribe, I'm incredibly passionate about teaching and making sure people have the information they need to make good decisions,
Yeah.
right? Because even if you don't leverage my services, at least you understand the options that are available, so that when
Yeah.
somebody else comes to you, you know the types of questions to ask. You know the pros and cons of whatever strategy they might put in front of you. And if even if you don't know, you can come back to the community and say, "Hey, this is what this person said. Is this true?"
Hmm.
Right? And a lot of us, we need those safe spaces where we can, have a sounding board so that people are not pulling the wool over our eyes and we get excited because we think there's a quick fix to the
Mm,
solution that we're or the problem that we have, right? So I think that that's what's so special about this space is I know how powerful financial literacy is, but I also know how vulnerable the population is when we're talking about addressing the lack of knowledge, because for
yeah.
many of us, especially my Black women who are highly educated,
Mm,
it is sometimes challenging for us to admit we don't know as much as we think we should know about money. And in
right.
my community, it's a safe space to realize, hey, I don't know this
Mhm.
much about that, even though I'm an expert in these other areas.
Yes, and that includes me, and that's my honesty coming out. Because we spent a lot of years putting our money down or somebody else's to get these degrees, and in that we find ourselves in precarious situations, especially if we were single mothers or not. It really doesn't matter, but it was a challenge for people like myself and others. We were all in. It was like three or four of us all in school together, trying to hold each other up and at the same time trying to figure out how we were going to split five grilled cheese sandwiches between ourselves and our kids. So and that's a worst case scenario example, but to hear you say that you have created a safe space so people can talk and communicate and can communicate, really is a relief for people like myself, because um, people look at professionals and say, well, you ought to know. But finance is not taught in our school system. It is not a requirement to learn the things that you have studied for and become an expert in. And so I applaud you and the other financial advisors for saying that you need to get really, really loud. And thank you for your honesty in also being clear that there are people out there that are for the quick money grab at the expense of the people in their community. And so, what are some things that people can look for when they're looking for someone who is reputable in the financial advising field? I think that that's
Yeah.
important too.
Yeah, that's a good question. So a couple things you can ask, right? You want to know what the services are that they provide, right? So like have people break down what it is exactly they do. Because people use financial advisor very loosely, and not all financial advisors are created equal, right? We have financial planners, we have investment advisors, we have insurance agents, we have financial coaches, we have financial counselors, right? There's all different kinds of things. And
Okay.
so you want to ask, okay, well, what is the exact service you provide? And they will articulate it for you. You
Okay.
also want to ask about credentials,
Mm,
right? Most financial advisors are connected to some sort of regulatory body where they are either a fiduciary, which is somebody who has committed to putting their client's best interest ahead of theirs. So I'm a fiduciary, right?
okay.
And so whenever I speak with somebody, I'm always looking for what's the solution that is going to solve this client's needs, and that is what comes before whatever my compensation is going to be, right? But not every financial advisor is a fiduciary. So
Mm,
someone might recommend a strategy that may not even solve your problems, but they know, okay, I get paid more by recommending this, right?
mm,
So those are some key ones, right? Figure out what the exact services they provide. Ask about their certifications, licensing, what regulatory bodies they are affiliated with,
mm.
and then ask about their compensation. Ask how they're paid,
I
right?
see.
Because there's all different kinds of payment structures. There
Hmm.
are people that get paid a flat fee for their services. So the core of our program is a flat fee, right? So if you take the advice or not, it's not going to change how I deliver what is in your best interest. This is what you need to do. If you do it this way, it's going to be in your best interest. Now, there might be other vehicles and other things that you can execute on, but that compensation doesn't impact how I'm going to deliver this advice,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay. I love it.
There's also people getting paid commission. So a percentage
Hang on tight. Hang on tight. You're slowing down again. Are we back?
I think we're back.
Okay. So you were saying people that get paid a commission.
Yes. So you have the flat fee, then you have commission.
Hmm.
So people that are paid on commission, basically, however much you spend in a particular product, they receive a percentage of that. So if you spend more for the product, they get paid more, right? And so these are the kind of things you want to know if it is giving them any bias
Okay.
in whatever they're suggesting might be a good solution for you. And that's not to say people who are paid by commission are bad or wrong or anything like that. It's just good information for you so that you can know.
Right. Okay. That's good stuff. And see, these are the things that our community really needs to know because we're being provided with, like you were saying, like you ran it down. Like, okay, I thought you were an accountant. I thought you were a financial advisor. Wait a minute, there's insurance. That's different too. And so it's like an onslaught of this instead of, wait a minute, stop. Here's what you need right here. Consider this. Consider that. Consider this. Somebody needs to be screaming that from the rooftops. And so just a thought. That's just a thought. Okay. I'm just saying. I think I hear a little
Heard,
breathing.
heard, I heard.
Okay. All right. Well, Without further ado, Tremaine, we could sit here all day and we could talk in depth. Do you hear that reverb? Huh, interesting. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to provide your information. This is where we can find you on social media at Tremaine Wills. And that's on everything, Instagram, Facebook. You'll be able to find her also on Facebook in her The 1 Trillion Tribe. That's the other place that you can find Tremaine. And then, of course, at her website at mindovermoney.net. Once again, that's mindovermoney.net. Tremaine, before we leave today, what information would you like to provide to our audience that is going to maybe help get them in the right direction to begin?
So I have two quotes, right? One is an original from me. All right.
Okay.
So if I hear you repeating this on the internet, I know you got it from me. Right.
Okay.
And so it's one of my favorite things to say. If you ain't tracking, you ain't trying. You should be tracking your money. And that way you can identify what's actually happening. You cannot pretend that you don't know. And sometimes we like to use the ignorance as a reason not to take action, right? But if you really want to build wealth, you would track it.
Okay.
So that's the first one. And then the second one is from Zechariah 4:10. Do not despise humble beginnings.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't start the investment journey because we don't like the idea of being small. But you cannot grow big wealth. Most people cannot, because everybody's not going to win the lottery. Not everybody's going to get a huge settlement. Yeah. Most of us are going to have to start small to build wealth. And in order to start, you have to be okay with being at the beginning. So those are my two.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it. Listen, we're going to be seeing you around the Brownstone in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. And also, you've got some amazing information that you're going to be providing to the Brownstone community about financial wealth building and advising, and more information, hopefully, about the 1 Trillion Tribe and how they can get those one-on-one sessions with you, which I think is so super important. I appreciate you for taking time to come and hang out with me today for Brownstone's Best Business Review. And we definitely need to have you back along with a panel of other folks, because I need to help y'all screen. And that's real. Yeah. It's time to get the word out. And just, I love what you said. So at this point, I want to, again, appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out with us here in the Brownstone. Everybody, once again, this is Tremaine Wills. Once again, you can find her at mindovermoney.net. On Facebook, go ahead and join that free group and get that information. If you're hungry, you're going to do the work, the 1 Trillion Tribe, and on all things social media at Tremaine Wills. You guys, Tremaine, stick around for us for a few seconds. We're going to hang out afterwards. We want to, again, thank you guys for watching today's show, and be blessed in everything that you do. We'll see you around.